How are we going, everybody? Today we're changing it up a little bit. We're going into the flowering range here. Now this is my weeping cherry tree, one of many that we have on the property. This one was planted over a year ago, right next to a conifer. So first things first, they are competing in the root zone. We've also got our sea lavenders here, which really multiply quite extensively. We've pulled out a lot of them because it was quite covered here, inundated by the sprawling plant, or actually dropping seed and growing. And this is what the flowers are going to look like. They're beautiful purple vibrant flowers. They are easy to grow, really easy, and they really tolerate a wide range of climatic conditions. But back to the weeping cherry tree. When I first planted it, I did prune them back, as I said I do, and you should do with yours if you haven't done so already. So that was where it was growing from. There were far fewer runners or leaders or weeps, branches coming down like this. And I did cut them back and they multiply. Let me go back to this one here to show you. This is what I mean by it growing out. So that's the new growth. Now it's over a year old now, but that's where the flowers have come from. That's because we did a prune. And we did that prune so we got an upward facing or outward facing bud. And it's swept out beautifully. Now it's holding its flower tremendously well. They can tolerate a lot of cold weather as well, but excessive wind is not the best part for these plants as well. So this is the first one to look at. We've got another 2 or 3 to show you by comparison on how they're performing. We're in the courtyard area here. This is the second weeping cherry that I planted at the same time as the other one you just saw, but this one has actually pushed out a lot more flowers, a lot more flowering, so it's more profuse in the flowers by comparison, and it's because it's in a more controlled environment, I suppose, but protected, so it's not copping the wind, whereas the other one does cop the wind. And I should show you all this because they're renowned for suckering up. So you see all these shoots coming up here along the stem? They all need to be removed. You can cut them off or just peel them back like that and stop them from progressing any further, because that is the rootstock underneath, and that is, what are they doing? All right, they're off. They're the dogs chasing rabbits. So they're doing their job, their duties. It could be rats, who knows? So this one here is doing mighty fine, and this was also pruned back at the same time. And this is how you multiply the weep on it. Now, I may remove the under branches here, the ones below here, later on. For now, I'm just going to enjoy them, allow this just to develop and go through its summer growth. And then if it doesn't weep out further enough, well, I'll do cut these ones back and tip prune all these other ones to an outward facing or above facing bud, so we get another fork coming out, which weeps out further and further. Beautiful, isn't it? Pity you can't eat it. And this is the big boy or girl or it. It's sweeping on the one side, and I was meant to graft this, I suppose, a long time ago, but you know what? Just put that on the list of a million things I've got to do on this property, and its turn will come. At the moment, we've got buds about to burst on this one here, which hasn't yet. It's in a similar protected environment, but a more advanced tree, and a delightful one as well, folks. I can't wait for this one to burst out. Look at all the buds. And this one, folks, well, you saw the 3 beautiful ones that I got there already going on. There's a few more smaller ones, but unfortunately, this one out here, out in the open, has copped a beating. If you don't know what Lethbridge weather is like, just think of 100-knot winds or 100-kilometre winds, icy nights, frosty mornings, dramatic changes in the weather through the day and night, continuously throughout the day. And I know many of you probably experienced that already. Well, look, you can see it's blowing now. So the ones you saw earlier, there was no wind. This is already picking up a bit of a current. So it is quite exposed. And needless to say, all these, which were pruned and were growing, have died off. What's caused death on this? Death by the climate, folks. Simple as that. And I didn't dare to come out here to see if I could look after it during the winter period because it was dormant. So what we got to do now is work out where it's dead, and it's quite obvious. You can see all the dead wood. Let me just snap one, see if it cracks. Yep, cracks like a chocolate salada biscuit. Ever had one of those? I haven't. There's a new one for you. Chocolate salada biscuit. Wow. Yuck. Anyway, let's get back to it. So we've got to work our way back into the branch. Oh, look at that. I don't have to do much here. Just, you can see it's dead right back at the union up there. So we are, wait, there are leaves coming out here. There's a little bit of growth there. We're going to cut it off here. Yeah, there's green there. So we're going to cut the top off this as well and cut that off. It's a bit of a messy cut, folks. No, it's not. It's actually okay. We should paint that over after as well. Don't leave it exposed. because cherry trees, if you haven't experienced it already, and for those who've got advanced ones, they're so prone to water damage. And what I mean by that is, on the top surface of the branch here, if it's quite horizontal, water will sit there and soak its way through, and over time create a wound, an open wound, and it starts to rot back. So they are quite susceptible to that, and if you've got an open cut like that, more than likely it'll enter through there as well. You can see quite evidently where it's dead. Now we've got a bit of life just there, but it's pointless trying to keep that. So I'm going to cut it back to an under bud. See the bud there underneath there? That's what I'm cutting it back to. Put my glasses on for a second. Wait a second, what do I see here? Yeah, it's already got damage there. Have a look. Come on this side here. It's dried out, but that's damaged as well. See that there? I've got to cut that off. So I'm going to cut to the underside of the other bud before. There we are. To that there. So that's the new growth. This one's fine. This one, if you're not sure if it's alive, because that's got a bit of play in it, scratch the bark. Look how dry it is underneath. See that there? It's completely dead. So let's get underneath here carefully and cut that one off as well. Bugger me, look at this. This is completely dead. That's gone. Still a little bit of life there, but the rest of it's gone. Yeah, so if I just, yeah, it's completely giant. This is good firewood, by the way. And we work around. This is what you got to do with your trees, folks. I know pruning season should have been done by now, but sometimes you don't know if it's alive or dead until it starts to grow, until the growth starts to come out on the plant. And at that stage there, you'll think, oh, geez, it's too late, but it's never too late. And one thing you should factor in is that the longer you leave it, the harder it is to rectify the problem. So you see a problem or you suspect an issue going on, get out there and deal with it sooner rather than later. Otherwise, it'll be too late to fix the problem, or just take all that longer to repair the damage caused. And where are we? Just about here. And I've got to lose this one here, unfortunately, because it's in the wrong way. So that's coming off there as well. Well, it started off, is that alive? Yeah, it is. Started off like a nice weeping cherry tree. Now it just looks like a maypole, doesn't it? A bollard. Rest assured, if there's good energy in it and you can see the trunk is still nice and healthy, it's the graft on top that copped the beating. From whatever it was, more than likely it was the weather, folks. It dehydrated. Well, I doubt it if it dehydrated. We're next to a dam and there is moisture everywhere. We've had nothing but good rainfall for the last 6 months on and off. So the ground's really damp underfoot. It is the above ground climate that's caused the damage. So it's not below the ground. It's caused it to die back. So prune your trees, paint over the open wounds that you create if you're really concerned about them. And it's a good practice to actually do on your trees. And then give them a feed if you haven't done so already. This one had a feed. About 6 months ago, I think it was. I should practice what I preach. And I will, folks. This is the area that I'm working on next. So, no, I'm not. I'm going back to the veggie garden because I love eating my produce. So you too should get out in your garden, look after your plants, feed your produce and enjoy our website. Everything you need discounted from 30 to 70% off online. From me, Vasili Maresi.